So today we have Stacy Caughlin. Stacy is a Bigfoot hunter. Now, I'm a researcher, but I've used the term hunter, researcher interchangeably. Stacy, would you clear up the difference for us?
I'm a hunter. I'm not a researcher. And as my my older brother, he asked me here just about a week ago or anything like that. He asked me. He said, "Why don't you take a picture of one?" And without skipping a beat, I looked at him. I go, "It's not my job. My job is not to make the plaster cast. My job is not to take the pictures. My job is not to put the trail cams out. My job is to make sure the researchers can get to the Bigfoot. The researchers can get their information that they need, but it's also that I can ensure to the best of my ability the researchers stay safe."
Yeah. You do a good job of that too.
I try,
When we were in Oklahoma, Mark and I, we could hear where you were telling us where the Bigfoot were remotely. We were hearing them from that direction. You said there was one coming down the hill across the road from us.
Yeah.
We could hear you coming down the hill. You said there was one by the creek behind us. We could hear it. And the same here when you've told me, remotely what where they were here. We were hearing them where you told us that they were.
And whether it's no, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you to explain a little bit the dowsing. Just you get a map and how you do it.
Yeah, now I'm gonna talk to this that as we've worked together. You'll drop me a pin on Google Maps, then I will pull that on the world map. And what I will do, I will start out with a blown out picture of it. And as I ask specific questions of my pendulum, I will narrow it down to closer and closer. Because the closer I can get with a map, the more accurate I can get with what I'm seeing on the map and the map dowsing and everything. So at times when I was working with you in some of your research areas, I was probably within 5 miles and working that tight to you so that I could see what was within you within a 5 mile range. Because when I get within that kind of distance, I can be pretty accurate down to 100 or less feet of what you're seeing boots on the ground to what I'm seeing on the map. And that's the important part. And the second most important part to the whole thing is ask specific questions. You never ask open-ended questions. You want a yes, you want a no, or you want a specific answer to what you're asking. And that's the whole two important parts of how to do this.
Well, Stacy, I want to say something real quick.
Yes, sir.
Like what we said earlier before we got on here. I'm familiar with the dowsing. My dad was a plumber at the time, and I know he used dowsers to look for pipelines and all kinds of stuff like that. So I've had a little bit of experience of that, and my dad was really accurate every time he did something like that. So I know that stuff is real. It's amazing to me that you can pick them up like that using a dowsing rod of Bigfoot. That's amazing. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, because I've done it boots on the ground, and I've done it by map. So I've done it both ways. And but I'm gonna be honest with you, whether I'm boots on the ground or whether I'm doing it through a map with as I'm working with Eden and I know how close they are, both of them are really high emotional events and are really tiring.
Yeah.
You know, for me, there's no difference in the two. I've had time.
Earlier, you said that they were sweet.
They
Here,
are.
I got nice boogers.
Yeah, I mean, the feeling I get off from them, from Matt Dowsing them and everything, is they're just sweet, especially the juvenile. She's just as sweet as can be, you know. And it's what I talked to Kimber about, is that some of the situations I've been in, it's been in where I'm looking at the Bigfoot, and I know I'm dealing in close proximity to the Bigfoot, and it's like, look, you're cool, I'm cool, we're all cool. Let's just be calm and relax, you know. And fortunately, I've not dealt with a aggressive Bigfoot that had other things in mind.
Mm.
You know, I think, matter of fact, your male Eden, I think, what is he, like 11, 12 feet, about 600-700 pounds?
He's from what I saw, probably closer to 10, but yeah, he's big.
He's a big boy.
I think that was him that was on my roof about, I guess, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. But he sounded like he weighed about 200, 250 pounds then. But he's gotten much bigger.
Yeah, because the biggest.
You talk about. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when he bluff charged me that one time, like you say, I started talking to him, reasoning with him. You know, we cool. Just let me get on the house. I ain't gonna bother you. I don't mean you no harm. And that was the only time he was really aggressive, other than when Mark was pushing down all the trees and he got mad.
And really, I've come to learn that with the average Bigfoot, it all depends on the situation, what's been going on how they're going to react to you, or they're going to react to a situation.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, it's something I told Kimber, that a lot of people misunderstood a juvenile for an adult, and they have a situation or they have a run-in and something bad goes on, but they don't understand, you didn't run into an adult Bigfoot, you run into a juvenile who's going to act in a juvenile way.
Yeah.
You know, and so that is another thing I was saying. That's part of my job, is to know, are we dealing with an adult? Are we dealing with a juvenile? Are we dealing with the male? Are we dealing with the female with a child? And any of the above. And to me, a good hunter should know all that above, should know all that information above when they go into a situation, or they better be learning it on the fly in the situation to keep the researcher out of harm's way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's coming real handy too, I tell you. When we were in Oklahoma that time.
Yeah, and that's part of what she's asking me, the difference between what I would say a hunter was to what a researcher is a hunter better know what he's dealing with, or he better be learning on the fly, because the researcher is going to be the one to be taking the pictures. They're going to be getting the plaster cast. They're going to be doing all that. That's their job. That's what they should be focused on. The hunter better be focused on what's going on everywhere else outside of that.
Yeah. So, Stacy, when you're getting ready, oh, go ahead.
No,
I was just going to ask, because I sent Stacy a copy of that picture. And Kimber, if you don't have it, I'll send it to you if you want to put it in comments. Have you heard back from the guy you were going to have look at it?
I hadn't said anything because I was waiting for this, and I didn't know what. Now,
yeah,
the professional photographer I sent it to, she's also a person with magic abilities and stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, she told me, she goes, as a professional photographer, looking at a physical copy of the picture, and knowing the date, time, and stuff like that, or the weather conditions, it was kind of hard for her to say. She said, but if you're asking me, is that a portal in my ability? She goes, it's not a portal. So unless I can get a physical copy of the picture from you and send it to her and let her do a forensic analysis of it and everything like that, from her abilities of looking at the pictures, she doesn't think it's a portal.
Okay. Now, and I can get the copies. I can put it on a flash drive for you, and because there was 9 pictures total over a 30-minute period. Most of them look like that. Right. But I'll when you come visit, I'll give it to you.
Sounds good. Because a lot of people, like people I've dealt with, when I first started this out years ago, people called me an occult specialist because I have different connections in those realms and stuff that I could ask information off of different people and stuff. And that's what I was telling Kimber. I said, when I start, you're one of the first, I think within that first year, me and you started talking, and a lot of people was hesitant to work with me because they didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And the more things have gone on, the more people I've dealt with, it's not widely known of what I do and everything, but I've started getting other people wanting to work with me, and I'm happy with that. As I told Kim, I'm not actually out for the fame and fortune and notoriety and everything like that. I'm pretty happy being in the wings or being in the shadows and everything and doing what I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What I was going to ask you is when you're getting ready to go out in the field, how do you prepare? And give us a little bit about what it is that you're actually tracking. Me and you talked about it, but give the listeners a little bit of insight.
To go out hunting is it's exciting. The biggest thing I try to do is not get too excited, because when you're dealing with dowsing, your emotions or your mental state can affect what you do. So what I try to do is I try to take any bias out of it and just go with a clear mind of what I'm seeing right then, right there, at that point in time, without having biases of this and that. So a clear mind is the first thing you've got to go into everything with, because I'm not going to lie about it. I get excited. I enjoy it. It's a rush. When you're out there and it's just you and the cryptid, and there's nothing to protect you but you're calm, you're cool, you're trying to be calm and cool, and at the same time your heart's beating 90 to nothing. you're really running on an emotional high, you still got to keep that bias. Now, depending on the situation, now, do you want to talk maps or you want to talk boots on the ground?
Do both.
Maps.
Yeah.
Maps is a real, you got to get rid of all biases that you have, because anything, you never want to enter a map saying there's something there. You want to have a clear mind. You just want to let the information come to you as your pendulum tells you. And as we've talked, now, if I start getting some kind of crazy information back, I may shut it down right there and come back to it days later. You said you were asking me to look into Patty.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the maps, but with the biases there, I haven't run it yet. I'm going to run it for you, and I'm going to send you the map of what I find. If there is something there, if there isn't there. But you kind of got to be to a point, when the biases are there. So you got to walk away from it and know whenever you're coming in with a clear mind and no biases to work a map. Now, the second hardest part when you're working a map, like with Eden, when you're working a map and you've got people boots on the ground and you're seeing the information that it's coming through, what you're seeing through your pendulum, you still got to be calm with what you see, because those people that are boots on the ground are dependent on you to give them the most accurate information that you can.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's hard, because that person that's boots on the ground, them, and you don't want to mess up. You don't want to make a mistake. Now, if you're boots on the ground, and I'm going to use my personal experience, you're out front. You're the first thing that goes into that area. You're the first thing between that cryptid and the researchers behind you. Your heart's going 90-0, but you got to control. You got to have a good control on everything there, and you've got to lead them. You got to give them the best information that you can, that they can do their job. Is it easy? I would not recommend anybody to be a hunter. I would recommend somebody to be a mime in San Diego, California, that do this job. It's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But it's rewarding whenever you get feedback from the researchers, or you see them excited about something. That's the payoff for you. That's your reward.
Yeah.
They'll get their reward later in the information they put out to the public, and they put out there. That's their reward. Your reward is seeing their excitement with what you've guided them to and what's been found.
Yeah. When you're tracking, what is it that you're tracking? What's giving you the information that you need?
Depends on what I'm asked to track. Now, if you send me a raw map and you say, hey, there's something going on in this area, first thing I'll start out with is there a cryptid in this area? Yes or no? Okay, we'll go with the no. Yes. Okay. Am I looking at a Bigfoot? Yes or no? Am I looking at a Dogman? Yes or no? Am I looking at any form of cryptid that can be out there? Then you go with the yes or no answer. That's what I'm saying. That's the important part. You got to ask these specific questions to get the yes or no answers.
Right.
Now, once you get the yes, we'll go with Bigfoot. Once I get the yes with a Bigfoot, then I start with the yes or no answers of how many Bigfoot am I looking at? Then I start looking at how many, where is the adult alpha? Where is the adult female? How many am I dealing with? How many am I looking at? How many juveniles am I looking at? I sent you a copy of the Fouke Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say they're all together? No. But can I tell you what's there? Yes, I can tell you what I've seen and what I know is there.
Is that a feeling or a vibe that you get when you get to that type of situation?
It depends on the turn of the pendulum. Like for me, and I've watched other people how they do it and everything. When I ask a specific question, it'll turn clockwise for yes, counterclockwise for no. Now, do I go off of just that? When I get a positive of a yes, do I go off of that? No. I will ask a stupid question after it to verify it. Like I may say, is there a Bigfoot on this map? Yes. Okay. Is there a purple elephant on this map? Well, common sense says there's no purple elephant on this map. Then I should get a no answer. Now, if I get a yes answer, then I know there's biases. Step back. You got to know your limits of it. Now, once I go through that, is there a Bigfoot? Yes. Is there a purple elephant on this map? No. Is there a Bigfoot on this map? Yes. Well, I've asked 2 positives and a negative. And I know I should get 2 positives and a negative. Now, if I get 3 positives, then I know back up. There's biases here. Back up, take a break, walk away from it for a minute, 2 minutes, an hour, a day, come back and work it. I've had maps that were giving me incredible information. And I'm like, this is too good to be true. This is too much good information. And I'll walk away from it. Then I'll come back a couple of days later with the same map and be like, okay, let's look at it again. And I'll get different information. Well, then you got to start looking at what information were you given. Was there a biases there before and you're looking at the truth now? Or which is the truth? So in times like that, you may have to look at that same map 3-4 times to see where the correlation of information is to know what's real and what's bias.
Can you tell aggression versus non-aggression as well?
I hope I could. I have gone through, and I've done it for Eden. Are these Bigfoot aggressive? And I've gotten negative answers, and she's been boots on the ground at that time. And, hope the information I give her is right, because she needs the right information. And luckily, it's always been good information.
Yeah. I think the only time I've ever had an aggressive encounter was in my front yard, when I got bluff charged that time. But other than that, we just hear them. Occasionally I'll see them, but never anything aggressive.
Did you say that was a juvie that did that, or?
I think that it was the alpha male that's here now, but
Okay.
I think he was a loner back then. He didn't have a family. And I think that was him on my roof at about 10 years ago. And then I got the bluff charge probably about 4 or 5 years ago. So I think it's the same one. He's just got family now. He's settled down.
So yeah, that's can I tell aggression? I can look at it, and a lot of it is, I hope to God my information's right, and a lot of that comes from, you got to be honest with yourself about what information you're getting and what information you're seeing. Cockiness won't work in this field. If you're cocky, don't do it. If you're smart, don't do it.
So we were talking about the other night. We were talking about energy,
mm-hmm.
and that everything has an energy, and that's what you're reading, correct? Am I correct?
Yeah, a lot of this is all energy. I mean, I'm going to make a joke here and be like Star Wars, kind of like the Force. The energy flows through everything. Everything feels it. And that's what this is all about. It's all about energy. You through the pendulum or you through the dowsing rods, you're receiving the energy. With your dad, with the water and gas and stuff like that, he's receiving the energy from that water or that gas and everything like that. And that's the best way I can explain all of this. Let's do that.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on something that Stacy just said, but when I go out into the woods, when we get to the area we're going to be researching in, I sit and I kind of like meditate, and I settle myself and I settle my mind and I send out good energy. And I think, I actually think in my head, I don't mean harm. I mean nothing but respect. And I think that has helped me a lot in my research as far as success.
Yeah, they feel that. When you're really working with a group of Bigfoot, and it was something I told, Kim, that with one Bigfoot I was working with, I put out, look, I just want to understand you, teach me, show me, so that we can explain it to everybody else, because I was feeling a confusion and really a confusion from him. But when I put that kind of energy out, I got a relaxed energy back. And then he was willing to work with me. He was willing. He wasn't worried about, because it's, when you go boots on the ground in something like this, as much as you can see them, they can see you. You're not hiding. They're not hiding from you. You're not hiding from them. They know you're there.
Oh, yeah.
And so you really got to put out that energy. Like Eden said, you got to put out that energy that you're not there to hurt them. You're there to understand. You're there to learn from them. And they'll respond to that.
Yeah.
So,
I believe that.
Yeah. Now, are there Bigfoot out there that may be overly aggressive? Yes, there are. I'm not going to lie to people. There are overly aggressive Bigfoot out there. I've been lucky in my encounters that they were cool. They were willing to work with me, and they were cool. Port Lock. Me and Kim were talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to ever run into the Port Lock Bigfoots? No. They're aggressive. And here's one for you, Chuck and Eden. A lot of people think there's one Bigfoot at Port Lock, Alaska. No, there's 3.
Oh, you've looked at it?
There's 2 males and a female. And because if you watch the 2 documentaries with the researchers, they're trying to figure out why they got something going on one way and they got something going on another way. Well, that's because you got 2 Bigfoot that are working together. They have worked together for years. And now, would I ever want to mix up with them? No. Mm-mm. They're aggressive. They're big and they're aggressive.
Did you say that there was 1 male and 2 females up there? Is that what you said?
2 males, 2 males, and a female.
Okay.
The Ohio Grassman, I've never worked him, but if you look at the stories on him, he's big and he's aggressive. You know.
We got a place up in northern Oklahoma, and there's a huge one up there, and he lays down a 23-inch track, and we think he's somewhere around 9.5 to 10 foot tall. He's big. He's built like a big linebacker. But the funny thing is, every time we go in there, he plays jokes on us.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, we'll be walking down a trail and something always happens. He'll throw a limb on the trail while we're, on the way back. When we get back to our vehicles, there's a great big limb that crossed the trail that we were on in front of us. And one time we have what's called horse apples here in Oklahoma. It's the seed pod of a bodark tree.
Okay.
And these seed pods are about the size of a softball, and they're lime green in color. It looks like a brain stem is what it looks like. But the thing is, for some odd reason, the Bigfoot in this area, this particular one plays tricks on us, and we had one thrown at us, and it landed in the tree in front of me. I was in the front, guiding a couple people, and he threw that horse apple at us, and it landed at my feet, and I reached down, picked it up, and turned it over, and he had a great big bite mark taken out of it. And he just does stuff like that. There's been several times when he's done something mischievous just to get our attention. And I always thought that was pretty cool.
It is. That's a cool one. I could actually have fun working with him.
Yeah. What do you call him, Big Boy?
I don't really have a nickname for him. I just know he's the alpha male of the group, and we've casted tracks that he's been on. And the amazing part is that the juveniles follow him, and his 23-inch track there was messed up because the little ones were walking in his footsteps and messed up the big track. But we did see it, and we could tell it was 23 inches. But he likes messing around with people.
I would actually have fun with him.
Yeah,
that would actually be fun.
He's never been aggressive. I've seen him a couple times way back in the woods, and he's never been aggressive to us. He just likes to play these games with us. It's really kind of a unique situation, I would say.
Well, that's something I told Kim about, and I think I told you about it, Eden. When I was up in Illinois and I was doing the Shawnee Bigfoot, and when it was over, we did a day investigation, we did a night investigation, and it really wore me out. Well, I got up early the next morning on Sunday, and I'm like, okay, look, I've done what we came to do. I'm tired. I want to go home. And so I got up about 6 o'clock in the morning. I started packing my truck up and everything, told everybody bye and everything. And before I left, I turned around to this one section by where we were at. And I kind of said out loud, I was like, hey, thanks for the experience. Thanks for working with me and everything like that. And I actually got a whoop back in response.
Nice.
And I was like, oh.
He likes me. He really likes me.
And it was good reaction because he was a big boy. He was like 12 foot, 700 pounds of, oh my God, you know. And, but it was kind of, when I got that whoop before I went to leave, right after I said that, I was like, no, that's the icing on the cake. That's when you work with a cryptid and everything's going right. And you actually enjoyed what you just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like you said, you work with him and he plays pranks with you and everything. And it's like the icing on the cake of everything.
Yeah.
So it's the enjoyment part of it. You know, because dealing with cryptids, I mean, you got to get the enjoyment part out of it where you can. And it's usually the funniest stuff that you can enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, if you want to answer these, you can. If you want to pass, tell me. I asked you when we talked the other night.
We had a lot of questions.
Yeah, I did. What was like your most memorable? I know you have boundaries, so I get it. But if you want to share,
okay,
because
you're asking about the three things the other night.
Yeah.
The most memorable, Eden's property. I think that's what I said. Eden's property, dealing, looking at those. What? God, kind of remind me what did we? How
There was one. It was an oh shit.
The oh shit moment. Yeah, I call it the oh shit moment. That was nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm.
I was working with 2 researchers out of Illinois, and they were doing a nighttime research, and I was doing first time I had ever done a live boots on the ground where I'm communicating with them in real time. I'd never done it. And they were researching a group of Bigfoot. And I think I probably went to a dozen maps that night because I would do so much on one map, throw it away, and start fresh on another, looking at things. And as they're hunting and tracking the Bigfoot, all of a sudden the situation turned and the hunters became the hunted. And I'm watching this on the map in real time, and I text them. I go, guys, y'all are being hunted. They're after you now. And they called me up and they go, or they text me, I can't remember what it was. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, look, you're in this area here. And I sent them a picture of it. I said, you're here and they're actually stacking around you like 10 to 20 meters apart. And they're tracking you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at the same, one of the guys goes, look, I'm hearing noise in the same direction that he just pointed out one of them's at. And I'm like, look, guys, y'all need to hunker down. Y'all need to do something. This is getting bad. This is not good. Not good at all. And come to find out, the female they had working as the camera person that night had put on perfume or body spray or something. And And that's what had attracted the Bigfoot. They were smelling what she was wearing on her person. And they weren't tracking them because of them. They were tracking them because of her smell that she was putting out. And I found this all out later, but during the time I'm watching the Bigfoot and I'm watching them, and I'm listening, and I'm actually hearing what's going on through the telephone and everything. I was actually scared. I was like, "Oh shit, what the hell's going on?" So yeah, that's my oh shit moment.
I've had one of those.
Those are nerve wracking.
Yes, they are.
Those will wear you out.
Yeah.
What was the third one, Kim?
Oh, it was your most memorable. Which one was the Eden?
No, fun, memorable, fun, oh shit, and memorable.
There we go.
Eden, you give me permission?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Eden, okay. Eden and Mark are in Oklahoma. They're in this one research area. And what made it memorable was they were dealing with a large family group. And
is this southeastern Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And what made it memorable is the way the family reacted to them. And they were as much curious about Eden and Mark as Mark and Eden were of them. And they would walk around, they would sit on ridges and look at them, or they would come close in on the camp and walk around and just sit and watch. They weren't trying to be aggressive. They were just much. And the last day is what I remember is that after they finally got tired of watching them, they actually went up over ridge and into a next area away from them because they were done. They either they were not curious anymore or what else. But I remember watching them going across the ridge line and cutting over the hill and going over the other side and just chilling out and waiting for Eden and Mark to leave before they came back into the area. But they were carrying stuff.
What they
And
carrying?
I don't know what. Huh?
What were they carrying?
I don't know. Whatever it was personal to them.
And in that particular trip, he was spot on. He said he was telling me, there's one up the hill, we could hear it. Or there's one behind you back by the creek, and we could hear. Every time he said where one was moving in close, we could hear them coming
That's
in.
awesome.
Yeah, it was intense, but I never felt threatened. Wasn't really scared. It's intimidating knowing, it's not one, it's not two, it's there's a few of them coming in on you. But yeah, that's a good area.
And the joke about all of that tied in with the joke I have with Eden and any other researcher that I deal with is I always ask how close you want to get.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you want to walk up? Do you want to get within, let's shake hands of each other? How far do you want to get close to? Because I'm that confident in my ability that, hey, you want to shake hands? I'll get you within shaking hands distance. But yeah, I would put that trip for Eden in my memorable.
I don't think I'm ready to get that close.
Margie said, "Don't get you that close."
Yeah.
And I think you told me don't get Mark that close.
Mark would run after him. You got to watch him.
Well, Maybe not so much anymore, but I think he'd try.
Say what?
I said I think he would try.
Oh yeah, yeah, he would.
But yeah, that's my three uh, fun,
Favorite?
enjoyable, memorable, and oh shit moments.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
And what's funny is, I mean, I've been within 25 yards of a 12-foot, 700-pound Bigfoot, and it doesn't even make that cut. You know,
What's the closest you have been?
You know, Mark's not real observant.
25 yards.
He
Okay.
we Mark and I have had him in my front yard with us twice last spring, and he didn't see him. You know, it was almost dark, and you know, that big boy was moving around in the woods. And one time he moved across the yard, across the driveway. I mean, I don't know, maybe 30 feet from me. But again, I never felt scared. But it's so quick too. Now, when he was beating on the house, I was scared to death.
That's because Mark pissed him off.
In the yard. Oh yeah. Yeah, knocking trees down that he didn't need to be knocking down. He did, and then he left and left me to deal with it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm back.
Yeah. I know we lost you. So I was waiting for you to get back before I asked Stacy another question.
Okay.
We talked about this, but I think that it's something that needs to be shared or explained. How do you pinpoint the location? You were telling me that is something very specific that you do to pinpoint.
Okay. Now, whenever I look at a map, and I've gone through all the yes/no questions of first cryptid, then Bigfoot, then on down the line, and we'll go down the line of Bigfoot. I will orientate the map to me in a certain direction. First thing I always ask for, where's the alpha? And my pendulum will start swinging in a direction. Now, once it's set its direction of which way it's moving, then I have a straight edge. I will move under that pendulum. I keep it off the paper a couple of inches, and then I'll line it up to where that straight edge is going along where the pendulum's going. I'll set the pendulum down. I'll make a mark. I'll make a line along the straight edge. Then I will turn the map so much that it's on a different angle. Then I'll ask the same question. Where is the alpha male? My pendulum will start swinging. Then once it's set into its motion that it's swinging, then I'll move the straight edge under it. I will align it with the pendulum swing. Then I'll put the pendulum down. I'll make another mark. Now, where those two lines cross at, that tells me at that point in time, when I'm looking at that particular map, that is where that Bigfoot is at that point in time. Yeah. And then I'll go down through it from there with the alpha female, and whatever's left. Alpha male, alpha female, first Bigfoot, second Bigfoot, first juvie, second juvie, and I'll go down to it through the list from there. And like I told you, first time I worked Eden with 3 Bigfoot, took me hour and a half, 2 hours to work that one map, just asking questions, because you really want to get the most you want to get the basics of where everything is at, and then if you want to come back, or if the researcher asks you for more information, then you can go down through more on the alpha, more on the, because once you set the players as far as alpha male, alpha female, first Bigfoot, second Bigfoot, first juvie, second juvie, you can go back and look at that map of that area, and you can find that particular Bigfoot anytime you want to, because you've already gave it a designation.
Yeah, he's already in the system.
Yeah. And something you asked me, Kim, can I go back later on a map and find the same Bigfoot again? Yes, if he's on that map, I can find him again. Once I found him the first time, I can find him any other time as long as he is on that map. Now, if they're a transit Bigfoot, they're just moving through the area, no, it'll never happen.
Gotcha.
They've got to be Bigfoot from that area. Transit Bigfoot, no. You're not going to be able to track them. Good luck.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what me and you were talking about in our conversation. Do Bigfoot transit? Yes, I've run into some that transit. They'll spend summers in one area. They'll spend winters in another area. So those are hard.
I think they migrate because of food sources a lot.
Yeah,
well, we were talking about it too. We were talking about it too, that depending on different regions that they do migrate, but like in Pennsylvania, as Mary said, that one came around her house every 3 weeks. So it would just like move through that area, but it would just like go to different spots. And I don't know, maybe ate all the berries off of this berry bush and then moved up. But it always came around about every 3 weeks, is what she said. Same one. Just the one. It was a family unit, but it was just the one that visited her.
You get those transits, and they're kind of hard. Bigfoot wise, they're kind of hard to nail down because they are transits.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, once I find them, I can give you the information on that. But once they move out of that map area, no, I can't find them again. Yeah. They're gone.
We're kind of lucky here in Oklahoma because we got some casinos around that have little eating places around the casinos, and there's been quite a few sightings around those casinos because they're digging in the dumpsters.
Yeah,
I can see it. Yeah.
I have a report of one in a dumpster here.
You did?
Yeah. This was probably 12 years ago, but he was headed toward a dumpster. The waitresses were bringing the garbage out for the night, and they saw this truck his brakes screeched to a stop on the highway, and it crossed in front of the truck, so the headlights lit it up. And I'm friends with one of the girls that was waitress in there at the time, and she said it was headed towards the same dumpster they were headed toward, so they turned around and went inside and told them now they ain't bringing the garbage out after dark anymore.
Well, that's something that we were talking about. Me and Kim were talking about the other day. Is it was something I told her about that she said she'd never heard, and we were talking about the Falk monster. And I said, have you ever noticed those? You hear, because it's three-toed. And I said, the Falk monster, the Honey Island swamp monster, and the skunk ape of Florida, all are three-toed.
Three toes, yep.
But they deal in marsh areas, bayou marsh areas. And I said, I don't know what's the difference of Bigfoot in one area, they're five-toed, but Bigfoot that deal with a lot of water, bayou marsh areas, they're three-toed.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's for y'all to figure out. I just lead you to them.
They do have some 5-toed ones over there in the Honey Island Swamp. We camp. There's a campground up at the top end of that preserve. Because from like Bogalusa, all different wildlife management areas and stuff like that, and but up at the top, up near Bogalusa, about, I don't know, 12, 15 miles from my house, they do have some 5-toed ones in there. We've seen the tracks, and I actually got laughed at by one in there. Me and friend Edwin, we go back there. There's this bayou that we'll go sit by and just sit and visit. And we got up to leave, and it would come from too far away to have been a human, because it came all the way from across the bayou. And it chuckled at us. It laughed. The closest thing I can compare it to is what is Van Helsing? When Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, when he's the big scary Mr. Hyde, that deep voice, that's what it sounded like. That.
Well, don't forget you got Grunch up there with you, Eden.
Grunch. Oh my goodness, I forgot all about that.
Oh no,
What,
that's
the Grunch?
Yeah, that's one of my bucket list is Grunch Road.
Dude, when I was in high school, they said, we knew you didn't go out to Grunch Road. You just didn't go.
Grunch is on my bucket list of things I want to do before anything.
Tell everybody what Grunch is, though.
Eden, I'm going to let that to you.
When I was in school, nobody really ever described what it looked like. I've Googled it. You can search it online. It almost looks reptilian.
Yeah.
There's,
it's not real big or anything, but
I've heard so many different explanation of its look. There's no two people have ever described it the same almost. Even the story behind them is different, and the whole thing, But the fun thing with that is you got the Marie Laveau legend, you've got the bayou, the swamp, and everything. Yeah, that's my bucket list. My bucket list is to go look into the Grunch.
Stacy, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Now, how frequently do you come across dogmen when you're looking at your maps?
Jim, you're laughing. You know this one. Only when it's asked. How many dogmen have I tracked in the last 2 years? 20. The last 2 years. Yeah, they're a lot more frequent than what people think, but I've tracked them. I've worked with people that they migrate a lot. They don't stay in one area. The ones I've seen, they're migrating with the seasons, and I'll tell researchers, hey, look, you got a dogman moving through your area. It's moving from here to here. I'd lay off of these areas in this area. And I've had other researchers contact me. Hey, I've got a dogman in this area here. And they'll drop a pin, they'll send it to me, and I'll start working it and everything. Now, as far as Bigfoot, as I've said, there's difference in what Bigfoot you work with. Dogmen, there's difference. Kim told me a story of somebody she knew that had a Dogman look through the truck window, their bipedal. And I had to explain to her the difference between Dogman and a lycanthrope, loup-garou, as we know it, Eden.
Yeah. Yeah, Rougarou.
Yeah. So there's a difference between a loup-garou and a werewolf and Dogman. Dogman will always be on fours. A loup-garou can get on twos and move. So if you've got a canine-looking cryptid and it's standing up looking through a 7-foot-high window, you're probably dealing with a loup-garou or a werewolf. So, and they also act different. There's difference in both of them. So, before you ask, have I ever tracked a werewolf? Yes, I have.
In the South?
Yes.
The reason I ask is I've gone out to 3 different the lady I talked to, she straight up, she wouldn't accept that it was a Dogman or a werewolf. She said it was a demon. And her and her kids were out in the yard playing, and it come out in the yard. And then the other 2 was 2 different people. They don't know each other, 2 different times in the exact same location. They saw one cross the road, and all of that is in South Central Mississippi.
Yeah. Let's put the caveat on this. Have I ever chased a Rougarou in my area? No.
What about an Eden?
Huh?
What about up in Eden?
You gotta send me a pin drop. No, because the old stories with the loup-garou, Rougarou is it's been passed down for generations, especially around down where we're from in Louisiana. So I have a standing rule. I don't bother you. You don't bother me. We all live in the same area, and we're all good. Now, outside of my area in Louisiana, if I happen to see, it's game on. But Southeast Louisiana, I don't mess with them. Yeah. You do your thing, I do my thing, and we're all good.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel about my local hairy neighbors. You know, I don't need to, be friends with them. I know they're here, and they leave me alone, and I'm all right with it.
But outside of that, it's game on.
Yeah.
And I'll throw it out there, whether it's Bigfoot, whether it's a Dogman, whether it's a loup-garou, whether it's the goat man. Because most people heard the goat man around in Texas, around Lake Irvine up through there. Whether it's a goat man, whether it's me chasing ghosts for Eden, it's game on. I'll do game on from there.
We got goat men in Oklahoma.
Drop me a pin, Chuck.
You what?
You want to find him? Drop me a pin.
Okay.
Let's see one of those.
That's why I tell people, would I ever suggest somebody to be a hunter? No, don't do it. Go become a mime in San Diego. Go do something. Because it's kind of like Pandora's box. Once you open the box up, you can't close it.
Yeah.
And then you start going like, man, I wish I didn't know what I knew now. And there's been times where I'm like, I wish I didn't know this. I'd rather go back to being ignorant and not knowing all of this.
It's a bliss.
So, yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, I would never suggest this to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So is there anything that you want to share with what you do that maybe we haven't talked about?
Yeah, I could say that. The biggest thing is the education. Whether you're a researcher, hunter, or any of the above, the biggest thing that we have to do is to understand people, they see things, they experience things. They have no clue of what they've experienced. So it's our job to let them know you're not crazy. You're not losing your mind. You're not experiencing anything unusual. We have to learn and be willing to help people through something that the human mind has a hard time to process. That, yes, you did see what you've seen. You have experienced what you experienced. And at the same time, a lot of times you get information. Well, with that information, then you educate the public. Because the big thing that we don't want to have, we don't want a bunch of gun-happy nuts out there at the wrong time going after a cryptid that you get a negative interaction with.
Right.
So if you can help with people in education and learning what they're dealing with, and I dealt with a landowner that has a family of Bigfoot on his property. I dealt with him. I've been around him. I told the landowner what was going on. And he said, well, they don't tear nothing up. I said, well, how do you feel about this? He said, they've never harmed my house. They've never harmed my dogs. They've never harmed anything around my house. They can live here as long as they want to. Once I educated, I helped him understand what was going on. He was happy. He's like, they can live here as long as they want and not have to worry about somebody trying to hurt them. And for the people in the field, I think that's something a lot of people don't understand is we need to educate. We need to help people understand. We need to make those interactions not negative when they're called for, and you don't get gun happy nuts going out there trying to do things that is not going to be good. And as I was talking to you, Kim, you go back to the miners' fight with the Bigfoot in the 1800s. You know, it just took one miner to shoot at one Bigfoot, and you had 24 hours of chaos.
Yeah.
The Bigfoot throwing mountain-sized boulders at this cabin these miners were holed up in trying to deal with them. You know, so, yeah, that's what I would point out.
Like that.
And last thing, if I do my job right, y'all can do y'all's job right, and everything goes good.
I, by the way, would like to get 10 feet away from one, if you don't mind.
It can be arranged.
All right. Maybe not 10 feet.
Now, I will tell the joke, and I say this jokingly to all the researchers I know and I've worked with. You know, everybody jokingly everybody asks me, what's the difference between a hunter and a researcher? And I jokingly say, researchers do conventions, hunters find monsters. You know. And would I ever want to do a convention? No. I'll leave that up. I'll leave that up to somebody else. No. That's not my job.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm happy at that. You know. Now, do I want to attend the second Louisiana Bigfoot convention? Yes, I will be there.
Were you at the first one?
No, I had something come up the last minute. I couldn't be there. But the second one, I'll be there. My ball cap pulled down, watching everybody else having fun and talking and just being there and talking to the researchers and everything, because I love helping people. I love helping researchers. And because the more they know, the more everything goes good.
Yeah.
That festival up in Natchitoches that we went to, I like that way better than a conference. It was more like a festival.
No, I was going to say, the first Louisiana Bigfoot Festival, I agree with it. It's a great thing. The Rougarou Festival we have here in Thibodeau, it's a great thing. Get out and support these people, support these conventions, support, the East Coast Bigfoot Conference and all these. They're good places to make contact with people and everything, and get out and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
while you're saying that, what's your latest project that people can catch you on?
My latest project is actually a documentary that's been released on YouTube, Hunt for the Shawnee Bigfoot. You can actually see me do dowsing on a map and in person and boots on the ground.
Where can they watch that?
You can go youtube.com, go to Red Room Productions. Joe's a great guy. Joe's got a lot of good videos on there that he's worked with. I love working with him. I know him personally. A lot of his other works and stuff are great. If you love cryptid, you love supernatural, Red Room Productions.
I'll leave a link to it.
They're great. They're a great group of guys and everything. Past that, how much y'all gonna keep me busy? There's my next. That's where am I going to in the future? How much y'all gonna keep me busy?
You're gonna do it. Well, you've
Your
got
next
to look
trip's gonna be at my place.
That'll be fun.
We're gonna play with those Bigfoot for one day.
One day. I need to send you that picture that I took at Eden's place with the shadow. Don't know what it was. Just know there was something there, and then there wasn't.
Kim and Chuck. Kim, you know how to get in touch with me. You can let Chuck know. If y'all ever need any help, just let me know. And, drop me a pin on Google, send it to me. And, I'll be happy. I'm happy to work with anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, now if I can come up there and have some fun, that's even better.
Awesome.
Right.
Well, Stacy, this has been fascinating to me. I mean, this is really cool stuff.
Yeah. Very cool. I totally believe in the whole energy thing. Like I get me talking about energy and frequencies, and I'm like, yay.
Yeah, I believe in them.
Yeah.
You can see my office here. I mean, this is my field. Now, that's my field gear. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's my whole field gear.
I want to thank you so much for coming on. I hope that you'll come on again.